This is the season of You Talkshow, where putting yourself first is always in season. Life is bound to suck at times, and that is why I made this space where you can learn tips and tricks to navigate the suck. In this space, we honor and grow through seasons of singleness, seasons of sadness, seasons of celebration, seasons of hope, and also seasons of nope. So go ahead, crack open a Celt with your new BFF and life coach, Megan herself, me, and let's dive into today's show. Hello and welcome to this episode of the season of You Talk Show. Today is going to get a little personal. So if you thought you knew me, well, hello, we are going to get acquainted on a new level. So today I'm going to be sharing all about how right now is the time I'm pulling back my bow. Now, like a bow and arrow, not like a bow on top of my head, but I am pulling back my arrow. And I want to say it like that because yesterday I was talking to someone and I said, I'm taking one step back so I can take 3 steps forward. And she said, you are not taking any steps back. You are just preparing for what is coming. And I loved that explanation. So I am going to run with it. So this is kind of tough. So this is the year of no ego, which is easy to say and hard to do. And I really just think I need to live my whole life with no ego, but sometimes it's very hard. Last week, I was informed that they are selling the house I live in. So I rent this house, it's adorable, and they told me that they are selling it. And when they first told me the news, my eyes kind of welled up. I was like, what? Okay. I haven't even been here for a year. So anywho, long story short, I was like, okay, what can I do? So I reached out to my realtor friend. I say, yo, we got to find me a place to live. And preferably, I don't want to live in an apartment ever again. And some people love apartment life. I hate walking through hallways, walking through doors, walking through this just to get to my house. Like, it's just, I've lived in a lot of apartments and lived in nice ones. I've lived in okay ones. And all of it is just a no for me, dog. I don't care about the amenities. I never go use them. So I said, we got to find me a place to live. And as we're going through these houses and, we're going over the plan and the money and the finances and all this stuff, I have been staying, obviously, in the house that I'm renting, and it's been only a week. And as each day goes by, I don't want to be here. And it's not in a place of like, I no longer like it because a week ago I loved living here, but I just feel unwanted. I don't know if that can get conveyed properly, but just being here, it feels like my days are numbered, right? And that's not how I want to live my life. If I want to be unwanted, I want to be unwanted for free. So what I'm actually doing is I am taking this next month to move out of here, and I am moving in with my mom. Me and my dog are packing up and moving in with my mom just until I find a place to buy. Now, this is a real hit to the good old ego because I love being alone. I love being on my own. I like paying for my own shit. I like my independence, and I work very hard to keep my independence, and I only want to get more and more and more independent. And so going back in and moving in with my mom is really hard for me because that is like a blow to my independence. But I look at it like this. Moving back in with my mom, I will save $2,500 a month. So you add up, let's say I'm going to be there for 3 or 4 months. That's a decent amount of money I can save. And one of my best friends who keeps me sane and allows me to show up for all of you, she said, Megan, think about it like this. You are paying yourself to move in with your mom. She's like, so take that money that you would be paying for utilities and rent and all these other things that your house needs, and you put that into paying yourself. And I said, well, Okay. We love Yesenia. She is the wind beneath my wings. So Yesenia, thank you for that. And then she said, this is an investment that you are going to benefit from. The house you're living in right now is a benefit that someone else's son is going to benefit from. You are not going to benefit from living there. And so when I switched my thinking to go from a place of, okay, I am taking this money, living like I ain't got none, because that's also my plan for a few months, is to like eat ramen noodles, eat potatoes, eat rice, and eat ground beef. And that's really it. So if I start to look a little different, just mind your own business. We go and get right and tight after we move in and we buy a house and we can buy things for the house. But I am personally, I am going to take a hit internally because I know that this short-term sacrifice is going to be a long-term gain. And so me being uncomfortable for 4 months, I will take all of it. I will be uncomfortable for 4 months. I will not have a podcast room for 4 months. I will not have all of these things. I will not have my own space. I mean, like, I'll have a room, but like, I won't have a house to myself. And that's okay. Because my short-term uncomfortability is worth all of my future independence. And this means no Starbucks. This means no anything I don't need. This means no trips to Home Goods. This means nothing. Because I also made the mistake when I moved in here, which I'm really happy I did this here, is I bought a bunch of shit before I moved in because I was just so hype. And I don't like any of it anymore. Like, literally, it is not my style. So I will move into my future home that is bright and open and the natural sun comes in and it's, there's a yard for Cove so I don't have to walk him all the time. And it's just me. And I will walk into here and I will wait before I buy things. My house does not have to be perfect immediately. Maybe I need to replay this when I move in. My house does not need to be perfect immediately. It will take time. And that's something I wish I knew when I moved in here is like, you don't need to furnish the whole thing overnight. Like, take a minute, understand what the space is, what the space requires, and then purchase things slowly. So all of that to say, this is me being super vulnerable, super open with a life update. So if my content looks a little different, it's because I no longer have a house for a short period of time. And I am just in a transition period. I am pulling back my bow so when I let go, I can shoot forward. And I think that this is not talked about enough. I know Yami Mufti, I don't know if anyone follows her here, but when she was trying to buy a house, they actually turned in one of their cars. They sold one of their cars. And that was such a flex for me to really take in and digest because I am essentially doing the same thing. I am getting rid of my living expenses so I can put my future first. And I know like it's kind of disordered thinking, but welcome to my brain. It just makes so much sense for me to be uncomfortable for a short period of time to then get something I truly love. Because if I were to stay here and I would be just dumping all this money out, feeling unwanted, and then I find something I like, then I would literally have to scrap together everything, work super hard on extra jobs to make more money, and just like it would be a real hustle and grind that I don't know if I'm mentally prepared for. Now, I will say this. I am going to start taking extra jobs for voiceovers as well and do some other side jobs just because I want to, in these next 4 or 5 months, save as much money as possible. Because you know that once them bills start rolling, they roll and they don't stop. And so I just want to make sure I am setting myself up for future success. So if you are in a situation where you need to do something uncool, unpopular, un-Instagram worthy, just know you are not alone. And you pulling your bow back might seem like you losing, but nobody knows that when you let go, what is going to happen. but you do because you believe in yourself and you know your own abilities. And then you know what? When you let go of that arrow and it shoots forward, you know what people are going to say? Damn, she's lucky. How did she do that? I wish I could do that. Nobody sees your sacrifices. Nobody understands what you go through. Nobody understands that you have to go without, and maybe you didn't buy anything extra for 7 months so you could buy XYZ, but people will still say you're lucky. People will say, I wish I could do that. The reality is everybody can do everything. People are just not willing to get uncomfortable. So I challenge you, get uncomfortable with me. Go do some shit you've always wanted to do, but you've been afraid of what people would think. And I mean, like, don't go streaking nude in public unless you're in Vermont and you can legally leave your house naked, because I have definitely done this. I have left my house naked and I have done a naked run. In Vermont, that is legal. But in a lot of other states, it is not. So please check your state guidelines. But this is, in all seriousness, you need to get uncomfortable to get things you've never had before. If you stay comfortable, you'll have what you've always had. And if you like that, sweet. But I can tell you, this next 4 or 5 months is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be fun. It's going to be as fun as I make it, okay? But it's not going to be me thriving. It's going to be me planning and saving and executing and doing what I need to do to get to my next level. So I just thought I would pop in, share this brief life update, and just kind of get you in tune with where I'm at thinking wise, where I'm at life wise, and how it's okay. Because I will say, I bet there's some people here who listen to this podcast or watch on YouTube, and they just think, wow, she has a podcast room. She's got candy over there and candy jars. Like, this bitch, she got it together. And if you say that, bless you. I don't know what I'm doing. And I am just sharing my story with you. And I am sharing my experiences. I'm sharing my people. I am sharing my love. I am sharing my heart. I am sharing my good. I am sharing my bad. I am sharing my yup. And I'm sharing my nope. And this is the season of You Talk Show. This season I am in is so crazy and different, and I never would have thought it was happening, but I'm so happy it is, because I know something so much better is waiting on the other side. And I think when you are served this type of information, you need to take it in and say, A, what can I learn from this? B, what can I do to proactively help this situation? And C, let's go. Like, let's do this thing. Why are we so afraid of change? Why? Life begins outside of our comfort zone, which is the most lame quote ever, but it's so true. If you are willing to get uncomfortable, the possibilities that you are presented with are endless. So let's get uncomfortable. Let's see what the next level of us looks like. Why do we stay small? We stay small to please other people. Fuck other people. What about you? What do you think you deserve? That's what we need to go after, not what other people think you should have or think you should be or think you should do. And let me tell you something. I think this is very important. I was in a relationship for 4 years, and the man I was in a relationship with never wanted to buy a house, which was a really big tension point in our relationship. He was like, I don't ever want to buy a house. 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 Everything can go wrong. I don't ever want to buy a house. I don't ever want to buy a house. I just want to live in an apartment. And I'm like, that's weird. And I was so young. I mean, I was 20 and I was like, that's odd. Why do you want to live in an apartment? He's like, well, houses are just so much work, XYZ. And that really got an imprint into my mind. And so for a very long time, I was always anti-house, because when you are filled with the same conversation over and over and over and over for years, you start to believe it. I mean, you're only human. And so I really did have this weird taste in my mouth to purchasing a home, purchasing a condo, purchasing a townhome, anything like this, because I had this idea that houses are bad. If houses are bad, why do so many people own them? Okay. There's shit that's going to go wrong with your car. There's shit that's going to go wrong with your body. There's shit that's going to go wrong with your house. It's how life is. All we can do is make sure that we do our best to find one that matches us, our energy, and our needs. That's it. Everything else is going to happen how it's going to happen. So if you are surrounded by someone who is really dogging on your idea, or maybe they were in like your past life when you've evolved so much, but that voice is still there, push past that voice and surround yourself with the most beautiful people and their voices of encouragement. I can tell you, I have a few people in my corner for this situation where they're saying, oh my goodness, a better house is waiting. Your house is out there waiting for you. And they're just so supportive. And I'm like, what did I do to get this? Like, what? I am so confused, but I am so grateful. And this is the difference maker. Who's ever in your ear is going to color the situation. So if you have someone negative in your ear, as happy as you are, you're still going to feel that extra, is this right? But if you have positive people who are surrounding you with love and encouragement, the entire situation is going to be so different. So, yep, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm doing. So, at the middle of February, I'll be outie. So we're going to start a new adventure and I'm really excited. And I just bought 10 giant Tupperwares yesterday, like storage containers at Lowe's. So I'm just going to start packing and I'm just going to start moving this self out. But I will tell you one thing, this podcast room is going to be the last thing to move out because I got a lot of shit to film before this. I hope that you enjoyed this little life update. If you do, let me know. Slide into my DMs. They are always open, like a 24-hour cafe. My Instagram is at Megan Herself, MEAGAN herself. And let me know if you like life updates. I was listening to this video this morning and they were sharing how they get content ideas from this internet search engine. And I'm like, that feels so wrong to me. I teach from my experiences. I teach from something that sparks passion. I teach from things that I can speak to. Not that I'm an expert at. I speak from my heart. And I hope that that comes across on this podcast, that everything I do is from my heart and from my soul. And I don't put anything out if it doesn't feel right. And I mean, I just continue to grow and evolve. And I'm watching episodes I filmed a month ago and I'm like, wow. The more you do something, the better you get. And also too, if you're not embarrassed by your first episodes or your first course or your first videos, you didn't start soon enough, because you have to go through the mess to come out clean. It's like a car wash. You got to start at the end of the car wash when you're muddy and dirty and you aren't really sure what you're doing and why did you drive through a mud puddle? And the further you get along in your journey, you're going through the car wash and eventually you come out clean and squeaky and shiny and you know what the fuck you're doing. So thank you for joining me on this journey through my car wash. I'm so grateful for all of you, and I'm excited to see where this next series of life takes me. But for now, Megan Herself,